back to the Vinyl Nosing YouTube channel. Today we are sharing an easy DIY vinyl stairs installation with you. We call it rough vinyl stairs with unfinished painted risers and stringers. It's an easy budget-friendly option, and today we're sharing tips and tricks so you can install it yourself. Enjoy the video.
First, we'll start with painting. It's essential to paint the staircase before installing the threads. For painting, we use paint from the brand Deluxe. We've been working with this brand for a very long time and can assure you of its excellent quality, which is why we recommend it, not because we are promoting it, but simply because we use it and are happy with the results. Here is a handy tip to keep your brushes and rollers from drying out, so they're ready for the final coat of paint at the end of your project. Remember to fill any holes and sand the surface smoothly before applying the final coat of paint to complete your project. The final coat of paint is applied during the finishing stage at the end of the stair installation project. Once the stringers and risers are dry, you can begin measuring the staircase and creating templates. Before we move on to the next step, let's clarify some terms. When buying vinyl planks, you'll notice they come in length from usually 36 to 72 inches, with 48 inches being the most common. Their width ranges from 5 to 12 inches, though usually between 6 and 9 inches, depending on the brand. For stairs, when facing the staircase, the width of the stairway goes from left to right, averaging from 32 to 42 inches, while the run depends on the number of steps. So during installation, the length of the nosing and second part of each thread will match your stairway width, while your thread depth, in turn, will match the width of the nosing. You can use any tools you have available to take measurements. In our experience, we have yet to encounter a perfectly straight staircase. Most have angle inconsistencies. In this video, we'll show you how to handle this challenge. We'd like to remind you that when installing vinyl stairs, you should be proficient in using a miter saw or a table saw. The first step is to cut nosing return to match the depth of your ball nose. Use an extra piece of nosing as a template before cutting the purchased nosings. Don't forget to leave 1/8 or 1/16 gap for glue. Next, we measure the second part of the thread for depth or width to make the template. Take your time with cuts on the purchased nosings. A typical stair thread is usually 32-36 inches in length, which means there will usually be a 10-12 inches piece left over from each nosing we provide, since we make nosing usually a full plank length. Use these leftover pieces to practice your cuts and to make templates. As you can see, we use tape to write down the numbers when we do our measurements. As we mentioned earlier, stair angles are usually inconsistent and thread depth may vary as well. Be very careful in your measurements and cuts. Now you can prep the saw and cut the second part of the thread for your template. Now you can connect the nosing template to the second part of the thread template and test it on each step. Now you can use the nosing template to set up the saw to cut all your nosings. Do the same for the second part of the thread using the template for that section. If your thread depth differ, the second part of the thread will vary in width as well. Proceed to measure the thread width at the nosing and the riser. As you'll notice, the measurements can differ by about 1/8. You can take measurements either with a measuring tape or a laser distance measurer. For creating a template for each step, you can use a Stair step scribe or make a template out of plywood. We'll show you how next. One more reminder, you should be confident in using a miter saw or a table saw. If you are uncertain about your skills, it's best to hire a professional and show them our staircase installation video beforehand. First, measure the thread width and cut both the nosing and the second part of the thread about 2-3 inches longer. This extra length will make it easier to trim precisely later. To make cutting easier, place the thread on a piece of wood or plywood that's the same thickness as your thread. Tape the nosing and second part together, align your marking tool with the edge of the thread and secure it with clamps for accuracy. If you are using a large 10-12 inch saw, you can cut both pieces of the thread together without taking them apart. With a smaller 7-inch saw, however, you'll need to separate the nosing and the second part and cut them individually. threads of varying sizes. Since we know stairs are never perfect, we recommend checking the fit on side after each cut and trimming again if needed. Once cut, join the pieces and check that the edges line up properly. If you don't have a miter saw and don't want to buy or rent one, you could use a table saw. However, we don't recommend it as it's less safe, requires more skill, and is less precise. A 10-12 inch saw blade will allow you to cut both pieces of the thread together accurately and save time. With this large blade, you can also cut along the edge of a plywood template. Before gluing the thread, ensure it fits snugly but can still be inserted easily. If it's difficult to insert, trim it slightly by hand with a knife or using a saw. We recommend using Mapei Eco 373 or a similar adhesive for the thread section that has an underlay. On the nosing section, where the underlay has been removed, we use PL Premium for extra strength and leveling. Please refer to the separate video for guidance. Start by applying a thin layer of Mapei with a 1/16 trowel. We use a special professional tape that doesn't need to be removed. However, for DIY installation, we recommend removing the tape and applying Mapei over the entire surface without the tape. Next, apply PL to the nosing section as shown in this video and insert the thread. You may choose to apply Mapei to the back of the vinyl or directly on the thread itself. Don't wait for the glue to harden. Immediately wipe off any excess with a damp cloth. You can also apply Mapei to both parts separately after first removing the tape from the inside edge. If you applied the glue separately to the nosing and the second part of the thread, make sure to secure both the nosing and the second half of the thread with tape. Make sure you let dry your freshly installed stairs for at least 8 hours. When installing vinyl on rough staircases with painted stringers and risers, there may be a small gap between the vinyl and the painted sections. In the next part of this video, we'll show you how to fix it and how to finish your stairs. If you need to use the staircase during installation or shortly after, move carefully, avoiding the front part of the thread and the actual nosing. Choose any type of tape that you find easy to work with and carefully apply it so that it aligns perfectly with the edge of the vinyl. Once it's in place, use a utility knife to trim off any excess before applying the dab and the final coat of paint. To fill the gap between the vinyl and painted parts, you can use regular dab or fast drying dab, it's up to you. To remove excess dab, use your finger, a damp cloth, a damp sponge piece, or a knife for the corners. We recommend applying dab in 2 stages, removing excess where there is too much and adding more where there is too little. After dab has completely dried, apply the final coat of paint. Once the paint is fully dry, remove the tape and your stairs will be ready to enjoy.
And there you have it, a stylish, budget-friendly, durable solution for your stairs. With custom vinyl nosings and unfinished painted risers and stringers, you can definitely create modern, sleek look for your stairs. Again, we hope you enjoyed our tips and tricks. If you have any questions, please comment below. We're going to be more than happy to answer. In our next video, we're going to show you a second option of vinyl stairs installation, this time with finished risers and stringers. Stay tuned for more DIY tutorials with vinyl nosing.